Hey, everybody. Welcome back and happy Friday. Oh, gotta love the Friday vibe. Thank you so much for joining me today. And we're going to be using the Light Seers Tarot, just double checking the name, to get our topic for today. Let me know if you are enjoying the tarot cards. It's a little bit different than the Oracle. I like the tarot because it's a great way to read energy. And let's see what we've got for today. Let's get a card. I like to get a jumper for the tarot. It's a thing. Well, maybe. Oh, there we go. There we go. The star. Beautiful. It's a major arcana card. And if you're not familiar with tarot, you have the minor arcana, which is like day to day stuff. And then the major arcana, which is like a life shift. And the beautiful thing about the star card is that the star is about healing. It's about healing. It's about recognition. It's about uh, wholeness. And with the topics we've been covering this week, and there have been some really interesting Venus transits going on in the astrology, and Venus is tied to our sense of worth and value and love. And we confuse love with being outside of us, self love. Venus is trying to tell us to see ourselves, to recognize ourselves, and to heal the wounds where what we thought was love was not love. And when you think about going back into childhood, our first example of love came from people who had to make that love conditional in a way, because our parents had to discipline us and had to emotionally shape us to be able to perform in the world, to mature and grow into responsible adults. And so our first example of love was conditional. And we had to prove ourselves to our teachers, to our parents, to our coaches. Our value was based on our performance. And when we did something that was not approved of, we lost that love in a sense. You got sent to your room. You got grounded. You were disapproved of. The love felt far away. But that relationship with authority figures, that shapes what we believe love is. And so we perform. We believe that our worth is based on our performance, on what we can produce, on what we bring, what we do. And that is not what love is. Think about how you treat yourself. When you make a bad decision, are you compassionate? Are you forgiving? Do you beat yourself senseless for years? Because that's not productive. When we make a choice that is not in our best interest, generally we don't do that consciously. We're not trying to screw ourselves over. It's a learning experience, it's a growth experience. Anytime you find yourself in a situation that you should not be in, just make a new choice. Don't beat yourself up over it. Learn from it. Look at, why did I do that? What was driving that behavior? What in me needs to be healed so that I don't do it again? And when you start to look at disappointing outcomes as an opportunity for growth, for understanding, for wisdom, rather than a reason to punch yourself in the face, then you evolve, you heal. As you move through life and you come into these situations where you think, what in the hell? What was I thinking? Don't beat yourself up. Most likely, you were responding out of an old belief about love, or an old belief about your worth, or an old belief about how you have to perform in the world. And you don't. All you have to do is change your beliefs. Your belief is just a thought you continue to think until you think a new thought. But it takes practice, because when we stop equating our value with our performance, we do it because that was what was instilled in us as children. Birth to age 7, we are a sponge. And when your parents tell you they love you and then spank you, you don't really get a clear vision of what love is. You think love is compliance. You think love is performance. You think love is something that it's not. Love is unconditional. True, real love is not conditional. It's based on who you are at a soul level. And know that when you love yourself at a soul level and you are compassionate with yourself, when you make decisions that don't work out, you don't know until you try, and you don't learn until you fuck up. So embrace those moments as beautiful opportunities to make better choices going forward, to change the way you see things, change your perspective. This was not a negative situation. This was an opportunity for me to grow into a bigger and better version of myself. And the only way I can do that is to not beat myself up, acknowledge that, you know what, that was not the right decision. And sometimes it takes a while to figure it out. And you have to embrace the fact that, okay, you made the wrong decision. And then you went through a period of time where you were figuring out that you made the wrong decision. And you may have acted out of old behavior patterns. You may have done things that aren't you, because you reverted back into that old subconscious programming. And although you may not be proud of what happened in that timeline, if you take that as a lesson and understand what happened there, know that moving forward, you're going to make a better choice. You're going to make better decisions. But first, and this is something we tend to not do, first, we really need to take time in our own space, in our own energy, reestablishing who we are, what we will accept, what we believe, and rebuild ourselves. Get back on your pedestal, get back in your power before you start making more decisions. Pause. Yeah, we talked about in between worlds on Wednesday. Pause. There's a reason that change takes time. If you try to flip things overnight, you're not ready. You will not be ready, because you've got to get centered back in yourself. And that division right there, that liminal space, that pause, that uncomfortable moment, that's we need to embrace that moment, because we need that time, that space, that gap to really get recentered, to heal, to learn, to observe, to reflect, pull the wisdom from the situation. Don't try to move forward before you understand why things went the way they did. What parts of you contributed to something that was dissatisfying? How did you allow what you didn't want? How did you encourage it? What damaged parts of you showed up and just fucked it up worse? That's our opportunity for growth, not to beat ourselves up, but to find the unhealed parts of us that threw us into a fight or flight survival mode where we just degenerated and rolled back into some old version of us that we thought we'd laid to rest. And when that happens, we have to realize there's more there. There's more there that I need to look at. There's more there that I need to love and address and process and understand, so that moving forward, I stay in my power. I don't revert back to that childhood version of me that performed for approval, that was seeking the acceptance of others. I have to stay centered in myself, in what is important to me, what I believe about myself and what I deserve in this world and who I am. And when we start to lose that, bet your ass you're going back to subconscious programming out of fear. And Wednesday's video is called Are You Accepting Less Than You Deserve Out of Fear of Change? Our subconscious primal mind believes that change is dangerous, but our higher elevated soul self knows that change is beautiful. We fear it out of a survival need. However, sometimes we are shortchanging ourselves by staying in what we think is safe because it's not honoring us. We're not honoring ourselves. We diminish ourselves to stay in a comfort zone that's not comfortable at all. And when you allow yourself to feel the hurt, to feel the sadness, to feel the fear, fear is an illusion. It's a lie that your subconscious mind is telling you. We are not going to die if we leave that job. We are not going to die if we leave that relationship. We will not die if we stop doing something that we've been doing for a long time that's not working for us. We will actually live again. And it's so crazy because we have these two conflicting energies, this contrast within us, the brain and the soul. And the brain is programmed for survival, the soul is programmed for living, experiencing in adventures, excitement, joy. And what happens, our brain convinces us that that's dangerous. So we stay in miserable, mediocre situations that don't deserve our energy because our brain has convinced us out of that false sense of fear that if we change, we will die. And I know that sounds extreme, but really think about it. When you experience strong emotion, does it not feel like a death? When you are in so much emotional pain that you feel like your body's going to rip open, that feels like a death. And it is. And it's a beautiful death. There's a death card in tarot. And people, when they hear the word death, they're just, we have a reaction to it, an emotional response to it. Death is a beautiful thing. You're letting a past version of you die. And yes, it feels like a death. But there's a reason. Because you can't have death without rebirth. You can't have. Now, and that's this, again, I love this card. Death, rebirth. Really shitty time in between. And that really shitty time in between is when we heal. We come back to ourselves. We start to recognize that that portion, that person that we were in that previous situation, in that previous moment, is not who we need to be going forward. And we have to let that version die. We grieve the loss of that part of ourselves, of our lives. Leaving a job, even though you're going to a better opportunity, it's a death. We have to mourn the transitions in our lives, release that prior version of ourselves in order to be able to heal, recognize how we played into situations that don't serve us, and grow stronger going forward by pulling the wisdom out of it. Don't fear the emotion. It's a release. It's a release. It's a renewal. It's a rebirth. When we stay in comfort to avoid discomfort, we shortchange ourselves. We don't challenge ourselves to grow. We don't challenge ourselves to go deep within and identify what parts of us are still operating out of behavior patterns that don't serve our higher good. And when we identify those, We can nurture ourselves. We talk about being a good parent to ourselves, to that inner child. We can discipline ourselves. We can nurture ourselves. We can build and establish that trust within ourselves that we won't do that again. We figure out what drove that behavior, what broken part of me was still there, that still felt the need to behave in that manner, that allowed myself to slip out of my power. What part of me allowed myself to give my power to someone else and diminish myself? Because that's got to go. That shit's got to go. When you take the time to center in yourself, really look at what it is in you that's energetically pulling these things in, because that's what we do when we get in those places. We are drawing in the experiences we need to identify our wounds, what needs healing, and where we need to allow a death of a prior self so that we can be reborn into the next higher, better version of ourselves. Allow the pain, allow the discomfort, embrace it, truly embrace it, and know that it's birthing pains. It's not a death. You're birthing this new version of you that's going to take you to the things you desire. We talked Monday about discipline. When we are not disciplined enough to sit in discomfort to achieve our desires, we won't get there. That discomfort serves such an important purpose. It shows us where we did not honor ourselves, where we did not value ourselves. And when we don't, there's a reason. And it always goes back to those old beliefs and what we were shown as children in our environment, that something should be, could be, what you had to do, the expectations of your cultural society are imprinted in your brain. And you have to make the choice. Is that what I want? Is that true for me? Or is that just some bullshit that got tucked into my brain that's been causing me to do dumb shit for years? That's generally what it is. When you identify, sit in your energy, recognize yourself, really get to know, what do I want? What is acceptable for me? What are my standards? Why am I not creating that for myself? Why am I allowing less than that to be okay? Because you think that's what you're supposed to do? Because that's what was patterned for you growing up? Did you witness unhealthy relationships? Did you witness ridiculous loyalty to an employer? Because if you did, that's what you believe. And that's what you'll do until you decide that's not what you want. And that discomfort, that pain, is telling you that's not what you want. This is not okay for you. This is not enough. And that's when we go into this star energy of healing, pouring into ourselves, digging in to find out where these things lie within us so that we can pluck that shit out and replace it with something else. So embrace the pain. It's telling you something. And it's temporary. It's temporary. Dissatisfaction in a situation that you don't change will last a lifetime because you're allowing it. But when that discomfort is enough that you're willing to face the pain, to dig deep, to do the emotional dark work, the underbelly of your subconscious mind, and the beliefs and patterns that you have held for years that don't serve you, that sabotage everything that you really want, that's temporary. You are creating the solution in that discomfort, in that pain, that birthing process, to come to a more whole, authentic, real, and strong version of you. And when you take this time in solitude, you see how, like, it's like the universe is feeding directly into her heart. Get in touch with your higher power, your higher self. Really start to pull strength from who you know yourself to be, even if you haven't shown up for yourself like that in the past, or if you've had a fallback, a setback where for a period of time you didn't show up for yourself. Get in your own space, get in your own energy. Remember who the fuck you are. That's been our theme this week. Sit in the discomfort and allow the birthing pains. Trust that they are bringing you to a better place. You're not losing something. If it wasn't working, if it wasn't serving you, if it wasn't making you feel seen, whole, appreciated, deserved, you're not losing anything. Allow that to go. Feel those birthing pains of the you that's coming in, of the you that knows this is what I want. This stuff was holding me back. I've got to let that go, because nothing is so important or valuable in your life to lose yourself. Don't negotiate for your happiness. Let go of the things that don't make you happy so that you can create the space and the version of you that can have those things. If our hands are full, we can't receive. Let it go. In that liminal space, that discomfort between worlds, the new you is becoming. That new version of you is being birthed out of the pain, out of the wisdom, out of the experience. And that's what our life is for, is to continuously evolve, to continuously see where we can be more of ourselves, where we can live more authentically and more in tune with who we are and what we desire. Take the time, take the space, lock yourself away if you have to, sit with yourself, really reflect on where you've cut yourself short, where you've dimmed your light, where you've not been true to you. Figure out why. And I don't do this very often, but I wrote the book, Get Your Shit Together, that is about your subconscious mind. Those negative behavior patterns, the self-sabotage, why we do it, and how to not do it anymore, because we deserve so much better, but until we believe we do, we won't stand up for ourselves. We won't have the courage to say no more. We won't have the intestinal fortitude to sit through the birthing pain because we fear it. We fear it. We fear the pain. We fear the discomfort. And the truth is, there's nothing to fear. You should understand, or if you change your perspective. I don't like to say you should. Yeah, don't should yourself to death, right? Or don't should all over yourself. When you change your perspective, you see that. Okay, just for humor, I said that about not accepting less than you deserve, and seeing that the birthing process, the pain that you're feeling, is just the garbage falling away, the things you don't need. When I set the book back down, it knocked off my jar of fucks to give. Give no fucks about what you perceive as a loss. It's a gain. If something isn't serving you and is holding you back, when you release that and you go through that grieving process of that former version of you, that version of you that accepted less, when you allow the birthing pains, you'll find that you have no fucks to give. It's not a loss, it's a gain. It's a gain. You're gaining you. You're gaining the self respect. You're gaining the courage. You're gaining the confidence that for some reason you gave away. Don't ever give your power away. It takes time to recognize when we're falling into old behavior patterns. And sometimes we are so comfortable there that we don't realize it until it becomes so uncomfortable. We have to shift. Something has to give. Quit asking the people who aren't capable to make you comfortable, to validate you, to see you. Don't wait. See yourself. Recognition. Recognize yourself. You know your value. If other people can't see it, if employers can't see it, family members can't see it, they're not capable. They're not your people. The people who are your people will see it. You won't have to perform. You won't have to produce. Just being, your energy, what you bring to the room will be enough. Know in yourself that you're enough and you won't settle for less. So take some time. And again, we've talked about that's been our theme this week. And honestly, Pluto's going retrograde. Pluto is about the underworld, it's about our deeper inner mind. We're really being asked right now, it's a 5 month retrograde. But basically, energetically, we're all being pushed right now to look at our lives, identify the places where shit's not right, and fix it. Because we deserve to live the life that we desire. And until we stop accepting less than what we desire, we won't get there. So let it fall away. Let it die. Find those parts of you that are no longer serving you, the beliefs, the behavior patterns, the emotional responses, the triggers. This is a beautiful time to dig that shit out, look at it, identify it, and let it go. Embrace the birthing process. It's not a death. Change does not kill us. Stagnancy does. Embrace the discomfort of moving forward because that's where true life is. That is your soul's growth, your soul's journey. And the longer you stay where you don't belong, the more you die a soul death. If you have ever felt so detached from your soul that you no longer recognize who you are, that is death. That is death. You become a hollow body because you're no longer you. And if you find yourself in that place, whatever it takes, get the fuck out of there. Come here. Get back in touch with you. Remember who you are and what you desire. Identify the places where you've held yourself back, the behaviors that have allowed what you didn't want. Get the fuck rid of those. Yes, it's painful. It's a becoming. If you're a woman and you've had a child, you know the pain of the birthing process. But when you hold your baby, it's worth it. So, if you are ready to embrace a new you, a strong you, the you that feels alive, that wakes up in the morning happy to have another opportunity to live this day instead of hearing the alarm, wanting to just roll over and go back to sleep so you can forget that life exists. You need some time here. Deciding what you want and who you have to become for that to be your reality. And then spend the time becoming that person. Grieve the loss of the old self, but celebrate the new birth and know that that's where you're meant to be. So I hope this helps.